Live again. Back at it again.
Alright guys.
Alright guys, we're back.
We had to reduce the resolution a little bit, so we might get rid of some of this buffering from the wild Wi-Fi. So, sorry guys, we had to knock it down a little, but we're still back.
Alright, what we're going to do now is put a B to CA in all the spar channels.
Are these all open?
I don't know if Bob's opened them yet or not. Bob, you ain't cut the tips off these yet.
No, I don't think those have. No.
No, this
Sure.
is all brand new.
Yeah, I was gonna say these are all brand new.
Yeah, so unless they're hell, the tip don't look like it's got anything on it.
Yeah, that's why I was squeezing it to see if anything would come up. It's all quiet. Donnie's over here cutting the tip off the CA.
Everybody was waiting. I wish you guys could have seen that. That was.
Donnie was like very meticulously.
Yeah,
Alright, so what he's going to do now is run a B to CA down the channels. You got this, or you want to
Put it down some.
Do I need to show you how to do this, or you got it?
A little more right there. Just set it in and drag it, isn't it?
Yeah, just basically get it in a little bit and push it, yeah.
This isn't like fucking regular CA or super glue where you set it and it just.
No, it's not going to dry fast.
Okay, it's not fast drying.
Yeah, we're going to do one spar at a time. You're going to do that, and then we're going to put that spar in there. Make sure you're leaving glue in there. Make sure you can see it.
I can't even tell if I can see it.
Here's what I like to do. Watch what I do. So you can see it.
Oh, I'm tracking. So you're putting it in enough to where when you squeeze it, it comes out the top just a little bit.
So that just now you ain't got to squeeze it hard, but you want to make sure you're getting glue in there because this is the main. This is what gives it its strength.
All right, I'm tracking now.
Donnie, you gotta answer Lee before.
What's up? What's up, Lee?
He's been asking this one for a while.
See what he's got on there.
You want a soda, Shawn? I'll go downstairs.
Sure. I don't think so. It doesn't matter. I'm not picky. Beer, soda. I'm not.
Lee, once we get this C8 in, we're gonna lock it in with goop. I always goop them in after that. This is the same way I did that first one, and that thing is still. I could beat it on this table and it's not coming apart.
All right.
I used the goop over the top to lock, and this is the way I build all my wings like this. It just seems, I feel it seems to be a lot stiffer and it works better. Like I said, and after we crashed that other one that few 5, 6, 7, 8 times, it's still stiff as hell. They don't move at all. So this is the way I do it. If Lee's got a different way he recommends with gluing, then you can follow either way. But this way's worked for me, and this is the way I've done it. Go ahead and push your spar in.
All right. Yeah, the last one that I did, I didn't use the CA. I just used the welder's glue that they supplied with it. But this is only my second one that I built like this, so I'm going off of what you guys say.
Just you can take something and push it down in there. Get it pushed in with some needle nose or whatever. That way you don't get super glue all over your fingers like you're doing. There's a rag to wipe it on this.
That ain't no big deal. I'm not sweating it. If you have any excess, just have something, just wipe it off just a little bit. So, that stuff holds in there pretty good, man. It's tacky, but it's not like holding like regular super glue does.
Yeah, because you're going to have to kick it with CA to activate it. But we want to get the...
Like,
careful when you open it.
We want to get all...
What do you do, shake it up on me? That's how it is.
If I shook it up on purpose, it would have...
How did I lose the string that we were on? What happened, man?
We had to switch strings, I think is what happened.
Where's my video at?
Control 8. I mean,
We still
Control
have,
H.
we still have live chat on
Control.
the other one.
H. Down here.
Donnie don't work in shortcut keys.
What are you doing?
Post Malone. You see that right
No,
now?
I'm looking for the live stream, so...
He's trying to follow the chat.
Oh, yeah, I didn't bring no chat over here.
You might have to go back to YouTube and pull it back up.
Just scroll down.
Excuse for watching a video. Here.
This is behind though. This is live. This is from earlier.
Yeah, watch that. Here, you can watch the chat right here. But when you talk, you're talking is.
Well, that's fine. I can talk. So I just need to talk. So I can see.
It won't be as me. The Thrust FPV typing in here could be any of us.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily me, guys.
You almost over for me?
Almost cold. Heath, I think Trevor brought some up.
I don't know about that, Lee. That's one I might disagree with you on because I know all my right wings, all of them, the spars are held in with CA and then gooped over, and they stay in, man. Bob put his in the ground so hard I had to add new spars where they shattered, but they didn't come loose from the foam at all. They stayed in tight. You can even ask Bob on that. This is the way I've always did sparring on them. It just seems to hold better and keep them stiffer. Longer to me. I mean, I use goop to lock everything in once I get everything CA'd in, but I'm just a fan of, I don't know, I always feel like the CA helps keep the wing straight. Because once you CA this, and you get all these spars set and you kick it, that's what puts the rigidity in and it makes it lock in where it's true and straight. If you put goop in there, it takes so long to dry, even when it does dry, goop is flexible and it lets it flex so it doesn't keep the wing true. To where it's a true leading edge, in my opinion. So, I mean, this is my opinion. I'm not trying to argue with your way, but that's just the way, in my opinion, what it would do. Now, where CA will lock it stiff, and once you get that stiff and true edge, you goop it in, and it helps keep everything tight. But as I said, that one we did with the lamb and the CA and the goop, we pounded it hard, and it's still stiff as a board. So we'll see. We will do tests with ours, and we'll see how long these last. If they do get loose, I'll report back, and I'll let you know if they got loose after 15, 20, 30 crashes, 40 crashes, just so you know. And if they hold up, I'll let you know they held up. If they don't, I'll be honest, and I'll say, hey, yeah, don't do this. And like I said, they can do it your way, too, either way. I just know this is the way I've always kind of built wings with spars, with this style, to where I want them straight and flat and true, you know, and not flexible. Because I don't want my wing flexing at high speed and getting a wobble in it. But of course, with your spars you got here, they're so thick and they're wide. That helps a lot. That is one thing good I like about these Spec Wings, is this wide spar. Instead of putting top and bottom little round ones, this is a nice big thick one that goes through. It's smart.
Very rigid too.
It is rigid. Once you get them laying, man, it turns them into a board. We're pounding it out now, boy. Once we get done trim with his, we'll put you over there on a big table so you're not sitting over there and you'll have a seat.
Yeah. And then we'll keep the stream going. We're doing another one.
Oh yeah, you're a blocker, you're hard, you're not lagging at all now.
Don't stress yourself on it, you know what I mean?
I am.
You'll be over there.
I'm perfectly fine with
I'm
being
hurrying
on
for you.
camera.
Now we ain't in no rush, man. We got all night, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Take your time.
That way people.
A table hog.
That way
Trevor doesn't want to be on
If
camera.
somebody's building this wing, they can just relax and build it like us and not have to do like I always have to do and stop the video and fast forward and rewind. You can kind of do it at your own pace and keep up with everything.
Tell you what though, these things come together real fast.
I want to thank the two wing builders today, Shawn and Trevor. Y'all can't see Trevor, he's in the background over there, but he is building one. There's Trevor over there building his.
Spin around, Trev.
No,
Say hi, Trevor.
He said no.
Trevor's afraid of the camera.
no, I'm scoring.
Oh, he can't turn around. He's scoring right now.
Alright, we can go back over here, Shawn.
One big thing that I've learned so far building these is that does not have to be 100% accurate. You have some flexibility and leeway when you build. That's the biggest thing. I always thought everything had to be perfect.
Just don't fit that. A little too long.
It's a little bit too long. It's like not enough to.
Which one?
This one. It's too long.
Too long for what? That cut?
Which one? The A-frame one?
Just sanding it down just a
Yeah,
tad.
that's what I did. I had to score mine and cut mine. It was about
You have coarser.
2 or 3 mils too much.
He had to cut his.
Yeah, I had to cut mine down just a little bit. Sandpaper would work better though, because I
I
only
think
had.
it's Donnie's directions.
They're not exact.
They're close.
Well, you just didn't follow it enough.
Yeah, everything in there.
He said, it's carbon fiber. We're close.
Right.
It works, man.
Let me see it.
All right, last spar.
Oh, I got some more cool tape. I don't know where it is. Which one is it?
Right there. You see that line? It's not far. Let's go there.
Starting to smell like an office in here. Like a CA.
There you go, Trevor.
Thank
Yep, no problem, Blue.
After I get this last test fit in, how am I supposed to do the curve?
Once you get the, I'll come over and show you. Come from these marks. I'll show you that. How to do it. And then here, this one's sticking up just a little bit.
Might have been
like
all a little bit. But I don't think
that. It still ain't gonna be perfect.
I demand perfection.
Thank you. First off,
Did he say he's a man of perfection?
Huh?
You're not gonna get it on one of these. You'll get close.
you want 3. I'm gonna start over here with the mark. Which dot is it? That one?
That one right there.
That's awesome. I'm gonna go back. I want to talk to everybody over here. Hey, everybody, it's Pablo. I'm back.
If anybody says anything to me, just let me know so I can.
You got it, man. I'm gonna play the host here for a minute. Oh my God, somebody's talking. Yep, yeah, the video's been solid since we restarted. Thanks, Lee. I agree with the goop being too flexible. If it works for you, then it is great. For the same reason you mentioned, I use Gorilla Glue. I'm with Lee. It never never lets go of the foam. It is permanent and fills the holes. Okay, Lee, from my point of view on this one, I agree with you 100%, but so far, in this new way of how he does the goop blend with goop and the shit, I haven't, the CA, I haven't had an issue with it yet, so. I don't know.
You got a couple right wings I've built
I
with
don't-
it done like
yeah.
that.
To be honest with you, I would tell, I have brought Gorilla over here, you know what I mean? I've always thought that, he's always handed it back full, I never thought about it.
That explains why you get it back full. He just doesn't use it.
This Gorilla Glue, it just stretches forever, you know?
All right, Donnie.
So yeah, I don't know what he does to my planes, to be honest with you.
Let's see,
Sometimes.
where is. Tape here.
You gotta look at this one.
Oh, I have
Some
some
gaps.
medium CA, some thin.
That's
all the
goop will fill that.
I'm hoping he
That's
doesn't
what-
use thicker, but I'm curious to see what happens here.
Sorry about that center section being up like that. And I noticed that it's pushing the tail end
Oh,
down.
we'll see what I fix to do.
Tape it up. Got that shit in my damn fingers. Freaking itching.
Alright, next thing you wanna do, get that thin. There's some thin over there somewhere. Oh! What we're doing now is we're putting some tape. This is what I do, just so we can tape this up.
Alright, where we put it at?
Go down every one of the spars.
Oh, so we're letting it fill into the gaps.
That's the
now.
thin shit. Yeah, we're wanting to seal it in good now. This is gonna lock it. Just put it over the top, and it'll feed right through that foam, all through the foam.
Yeah.
And what this is doing now is it's soaking into the foam, all through the foam, right around the spar, because it's thin and it's sticking to the spar. So this is gonna make this a rigid, solid lock in. But before we lock it in, once we get this ready, we're gonna CA it, but we're gonna set it down. When we CA it, of course, you're gonna put some weight across it to keep your leading edge straight.
this stuff goes a long way.
Do that. That's these real fast for him. You won't need these till you go to CA. Yeah, be a little generous. You want it to soak all the way down.
Yeah, I'm trying not to
And then put
pull
your,
it too
put
bad.
your good bit in between these two spars here. You want to. See, the good thing is you're going to have goop that's going to go down in these spots here. It's going to be rubber shock absorbers.
There we go.
Alright, once you get all that CA'd with the light, you don't have to use light, but we got light, so we're going to use it.
Yeah, there's a lot of it right there. So digging into the foam.
It don't matter, you can get it digging there a little bit, your motor mount's going to be there. Help relieve that pressure so that the back of the wing sits up. Gets that bow out where them two spars are. Alright, now that you got this,
It's not sticking. I think there's too much CA on it.
it's this shitty ass tape. This blue don't work real good. Give me that bottle there. We're gonna kick this. I'm gonna hold it a little bit right here while I kick it.
Get down to the airspace because that shit's not good.
Once you kick this,
It's got a hell of a smell to it.
make sure you're on something flat, which I know this is flat.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn the fan on. We might have little fan sounds in the background.
We're gonna kick it, we're gonna let it sit for a few minutes and just lock in. We ain't in no hurry.
Got some fan going. A little stout in here. That stuff's no joke when it starts going. Holy crap.
If that shit works, it's fresh. Super good dries quick.
I didn't cut it all the way in yet.
That's pretty close. You just gotta get this channel cut deeper right here. Make sure all these are deep enough that when you push those in,
We're just gonna let that sit for a little bit and completely jerk it.
Man, y'all got, you got a proper window or something in here, y'all.
That's why I kept the fan on before.
Yeah, man.
That crap's strong. Whew. We just like smoked everybody out all of a sudden.
It don't bother me. I'm used to it.
Well, it's not bad. It's just strong. That pulled into the foam a lot better too.
Yeah. That's why I do that, so it pulls that foam nice and tight.
I got that CA on my finger. I can't even freaking tap on anything. So what you're saying, I need to invest in some big batteries
What
for
kind
weights?
of CA is that?
Do what now?
Lee, he got some CA from the local Hobby Lobby, I think. That's just the brand we have here. We got medium, we got thin,
Let's see
and we
what I
got thick just to try. So.
See if I can get some light on it for you.
Oh, you can see it good. Extreme power, medium.
Yeah,
And then we got extreme power thin, and then thick.
That's the thin. And that's the thick.
Bob and them had to take a break. They can't handle the CA. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Lee, once Bob gets in here, we'll ask him where he got it from. Yeah, everybody here bugged out. We had to get another fan going. That stuff kind of got strong all of a sudden when we hit it with the kicker. I'm not sure in here. I'll run out here and ask Bob where he got this from.
I think he got it from the damn Hobby Lobby here. Yeah, I usually use Gorilla Glue Super Glue myself. Hobby Lobby, he got it from the Hobby Lobby. Now that's stiff. That's a 4 5S 5,000 milliamps and 2 4S 5,200 milliamps. I don't know if you can tell, but it ain't bowing. It's straight. And we ain't even gooped them in yet. So this is pretty much almost done. We'll get Shawn back in here and get his ass to work. Shawn.
I'm coming. I'm trying to pull it shut up my fingers.
Look at this. Show Shawn.
That sucker stays flat.
No flex edit at all. I mean, it don't even bow. Alright, this should be good and locked in. Let's peel that tape off there.
Oh, we're back at it now.
Yeah, batteries work great as weights.
Man, that shit went all the way through.
it's gonna get you somewhere. You're gonna have to do that. You have to pick and pull right there.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You can see where the CA was on the tape. Hold it all
Yeah,
together.
well, you're gonna sand that down, so don't worry about it.
It did come through a little bit on the bottom.
Oh, you're good.
I guess.
Blue?
Yeah, that CA,
Yeah, it's
that
probably-
thin. That thin came right through there.
Is it wet still?
Yeah. That's all I need.
Now you're gonna sand your.
That actually sits more flush than what it did.
Hey, you're just gonna, like I said, you're just gonna sand. Once you blow it up like that, it pulls it in where it's supposed to be. It looks like it sits way up, but at first because it's the back end of the wings bowed down.
Yeah. You're just sanding this down.
Yeah, you're just gonna hit that center, knock it down flat, where it's even with the wing. It goes better if you go forward and backwards this way. You know, cut down like that. If you can use a razor, but you get a lot of splinters if you use a razor.
Yeah.
Just don't breathe that shit in. Try not to breathe it. It's gonna take a minute. I use a razor sometimes, but it does leave long splinters, and if you don't want fiberglass or carbon in your hands that hurt like hell, and if you, this is the better way to do it. Just wear some kind of mask. Usually it's smart. We just didn't have one today, so Sean's being our brave patriot over here.
I got
Taking one for the
insurance.
team.
It's all good. Well, the one nice thing about having them touch like that, and you put all that CA in there, even if you sand this down,
They're so thick.
it's you did so glued together. It's
Yeah.
not really gonna hurt it any. That is the one.
And you're only taking off maybe an 1/8 to a 16th, a 16th to an 1/8 of an inch, about all that's sticking out. If you had 80 grit sandpaper, this is a lot faster, which I ain't gonna do somewhere, man. I just don't know. Oh, this is getting 80 grit.
Yeah, 'cause this doesn't even seem like it's doing anything. Now, couldn't you leave this and just notch the motor mount a little bit?
Well, you could, but you want your lamb nice and tight.
Oh, for the laminate. You want it
Yeah,
smooth
if
for
you
the
leave it
laminate.
that- Yeah, if you leave it up thick, high, the laminate's not going to stick as good.
Gotcha.
Like I said, I usually take a razor and shave it down. I just don't want you getting pointless.
You know what? I don't care.
There you go.
Ah, heavy sandpaper. I'm gonna eat the wing with it. Oh, I already got it. Ready? I'm trying to take it all the way. Yeah, you tell me that now after you done a cut on it. Almost there.
That's probably pretty good there. We're going to do that.
See if I can clean it up enough where you can see it on the camera. Alright, when you sand it down enough, it'll sit flush now. So it's follows the wing curve and right there along the center. That way when you laminate it, it's completely flat. But it makes it look like doo-doo. Looks like it crapped its pants, but if you paint it, it's not going to be a non-issue. If you like having pretty wings.
You can clean it with water if you don't paint it, I'm sure.
Oh, you can clean it with water? There you go. Maybe not.
That fish is right, it sucks so bad. Yeah, you will, I'm sure you're gonna paint your shit anyway.
Yeah. Man, that sucker's already stiff.
Alright, next thing Bessie you gonna do, take this,
Set it and run it.
set it to push down, and you want to fill in your gaps where you got gaps.
Alright.
You want to do that to all of them.
Alright.
That should be pretty good there. That should be nice and flat. You shouldn't have to do that one. You just want to do that on the leading edge so you don't have this big chunks of goop on your leading edge. But now that lamb is going to stick super fucking tight to that leading edge. Where that goop is, that lamb is going to stick extra, extra tight to that edge. So it ain't never going to let loose once you're running out of that area. Oh, I've got the little shit. I usually buy these. It takes, I buy these by the big tube.
Yeah, this is not what I have.
Yeah, I'm getting some more.
Oh, I still got plenty of this one.
Okay.
I should anyway.
If you do run out, here's another tube. Another tube. You want to smear that pretty quick. That shit will dry up on you fast and get lumpy. Right here.
Stuck to the razor blade.
Yeah, it dries fast if you don't do it pretty quick. I usually do one spar at a time and I smear it as soon as I get it done. Because if not, it'll get lumpy on you.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't lay as flat. Doesn't look as pretty. Good thing about goop, it rubs right off your fingers.
Yeah, I know. It's like plastic.
Your guys
Beat it.
answer Lee Krieger's question.
What do you ask?
Motor mount.
Are you guys using
I'm gonna use Lee's. I haven't printed it yet though, Lee.
He said Bob said he's going to use your motor mount, Lee. He's in front of the computer. I don't guess he's paying attention. But he's going to use your motor mount, I guess. We know his was a little too short, so. What are you doing? Are you sleeping?
I'm trying to speed up the fan a little bit.
Trying to do what?
Speed up my well, it was trapped in here. So let this thing off the edge to get some air to it.
Did I not get enough air to it?
I just hung it off the edge.
Oh, it wasn't getting enough air from steam on it? No idea.
That and I made a little I put it in the afterburner mode. We're all good, guys. What happened to our music?
We don't know. Donnie had it going and it stopped again.
He didn't pay the music bill? We make our own FPV
I
music.
can put on some of the
Start beatboxing.
boots and cats.
Who?
So you want boots and cats? I can put on some boots and cats.
Boots and cats. So, boots and cats.
So what does he have you guys doing here?
We
You got
are.
your CA at the bottom and then goop at the top.
It's all CA'd, dried, and now we're gooping over top of them to hold them in tight. Snug as a bug in a rug.
That's how he does
He says he does this with all of his spar builds.
I miss that smell.
You miss that smell?
Not next to us, of course, but
it. Yeah.
brings back memories of
It's the goop, isn't it?
model cars. I just use cement when I used to do with model cars. Not like I was sitting there huffing it.
Sit in the basement for. I'm gonna do this for about an hour.
Oh, we don't
5
have
o'clock,
basements
6
in
o'clock.
Well, that's a good idea too, Lee.
What's that? Alright, it's all filled in and gooped. My fingers are all sticky as all get out. There you go. All covered and gooped and
Alright, just gonna let that dry. That's gonna take a while.
a while.
So Donny,
Basically, we're gonna go ahead and start working on your elevons.
I'm
Alright.
not gonna kick mine. I wanna do mine unkicked, and we'll do a difference like between kicked and unkicked for the CA.
Well, he wasn't talking about being kicked. He was saying that like goop or with CA. So if you want to do it different, use goop on your spars.
Instead of using CA.
Instead of using the super glue at all, use just CA or goop. So if you want to try it that way, we'll do.
There we go. That would make everybody.
yeah. That way we got a test.
Yeah, because I was going to say, my other build is done with nothing but goop. Well, E6000 is what I use. But it's all the same, just different
Goop
things.
is forever. I just want to phone tack one time and see what happens. I don't know what y'all got against my phone tack.
Never
You
use
use
phone
phone
tack.
tack to put them together. That's what they're joined with, is your phone tack right there.
But the phone tack stretches? Is that what the problem is?
It's flexible.
Man, you're like a kid done with arts and crafts,
I know,
playing
right?
with the black paint.
I got it all over my fingers and I got freaking fiberglass in my fingers.
He's got a dirty butt crack on his plane.
I know, right? Didn't wipe good enough.
We got some black laminate. Are you gonna do it?
Put a T here so you know that's the top.
I see what you're doing.
And a T here. T.
Wait a second.
You lay it on the table and look, that's how you tell. Straight up and down is the top. If you lay it this way, it's slanted some. See there?
Okay.
How you got a slant just a hair? If you go that way, it's perfectly flat. That means that's the top. That's the top. That's the top.
I need a pen.
I got you. Let me explain that probably. On your elevons, you want to mark which one's the top. The way you tell is lay it down flat on something, and when you look down, he's going to kind of show you, you're going to have one edge that's flat. So when you look down, it's going to be completely straight down. If you got it upside down, it's going to slant forward. So you don't want that. So that's the bottom. You want to make sure it's straight down. So that's how you can tell the difference between the top and the bottom. And then you want to mark them.
Yeah, mark it with, I just put a little bitty T on them. Donnie was like, put a T.
Now I know Lee does these a little different. He leaves them kind of pretty much the same length. I put a little shape in them. It just, that doesn't really matter. These things are pretty long. They're big. I mean, they're big and they're solid, so you get a lot of movement out of them. I mean, it don't take a lot of movement to get a lot of reaction to your wing, because they are wood elevons, which is good that he did. So that, you know, they don't flex a lot like foam. So you're good there. But what I like to do is I kind of bring mine and I'll make them, you know, not quite straight. You know, some people will just go like that and cut them and then they have just a straight. I kind of come down and then I'm going to come about, you know, here and then I'm going to come about half of here and here so I can get a different shape. But it makes, they work just as good. They make the wing, to me, it just gives it a little more shape and a little more.
It gives it a different style.
And it takes a little weight off of it. It ain't much, but it is by the time you think about everything else. So, what you can do with these, basically the first thing you want to do is make sure your top, when you get even with your, pretty much your wing tip even out here. So we know that's where they need to be. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to tape. Yeah, hold that, hold that. This, the gate, when we put this on, it'll straighten it.
15.
I'm going to say about 9 inches in. Make a mark. And then we're going to measure this elevon. It's 1.5 inches. I'm going to take it down to 1 inch. I'm going to say 1 inch. And I'm going to draw a straight line between here to here with my piece of leftover spar I have as a straight edge.
This is all cosmetic, right?
Hey, I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference or not. I know this is how like I said, all mine are that way. All of my elevons are that way. I just like them that way. I don't know if it makes it fly better or worse, but they've always flew good for me. That's how it is on my Spec Wing. My Spec Wing flies good. It flies really good. It's fast and it turns on a dime. I mean, literally at full throttle, it will turn in no space.
All right, you said it was.
I went 9 inches. I went 9 inches.
9 from the outside edge, not the inside. You can go from either way. You just
from
have to remember how you do it.
Yeah, I went 9 inches from the outside. You want to mark it up here? Oh no, you're right, yeah. Bottom.
And it was a 1/2 inch, or no, it's 1 inch.
Yeah, 1 inch from the top. Come down 1 inch.
It's high.
It don't matter if it's not perfect. We're going to sand these flat. It's dead even. We're going to have them dead even when it gets done. Balsa sand's so freaking fast and easy, man.
Yeah, no. Catching a groove. Alrighty.
Once you get that, you're going to want to do this. Hold on.
Scoot stuff out of the way.
Hold on. Just one more measurement you're going to make.
That was on the other side. This is for this one.
Take your leftover piece and line it up even with your wing edge and with your elevon, and go ahead and make you a mark there. Alright, that way you know which angle that needs to be. Now you can do the same on the other side. Did a good job, man. Good job, buddy.
Trying anyway.
Good job, man. Don't be so jumpy, man. Nobody's gonna bite you over here, dog. You safe. You running from the mob or something? That like you
Right. Alright. Now I can move that out of the way.
That's it, yeah. Just slowly cut through, make several passes, and you'll cut right through this without busting it all up. You can push harder than that.
I'll just get my first line down.
And cut real easy the other way, by the way, because you get the grain.
Yeah. Just gotta worry about it grabbing and cutting the wrong direction.
Hey Donnie, did you help me get in this, to try to get this straight? Yeah? Like, I don't know why I'm having issues with it.
Lee, we're going to do two different ways. We're going to do one way and one the way you're saying to. We're going to goop all the spars in. We're going to do the straight elevons. We're going to try both styles and try performance and everything. We're going to see how it works. These elevons, though, are so long. I mean, you can have that curve in there. You don't. Mine turns on a dime. I know that. Me and Bob know that. The video, you can see how fast it turns with mine cut down. I think if you get them too much, you're going to end up turning so fast, you're going to end up putting it into basically into a flat stall because you're going to have it looping too fast. Of course, you can throw your throws down for that. But I know I run on that wing we had set up, we were only running like 50% throws and it was still turning a little fast. So, I mean, you can do it either way. I think both ways will work fine. I think one way you'll just need the throws down a little more than the other way, but we're doing them both ways. Trevor's in the background actually building one, and we're going to goop the spars in it, and we're going to leave the elevons flat just to try it, to see which way. We're going to do tests on both ways just to see how it does. All right, what would you need?
I can't get this to sink in more. I've cut.
That's how mine was. It doesn't push in all the way in that center section.
Yeah, see what you're going to do once you get that and tape it up, see how much it's in there now. So you're good.
I'm good?
Yeah. Once we start taping that in there, we'll pull this up and it's all going to go in.
Okay.
You just need, right here, you're still too shallow. See how that ain't pushing down? That should be pushing down deeper, so you need to go deeper. Same thing over here, you need to go a little deeper. You want to make sure this pushes all the way in. All of these need to make sure they sit inside. This side over here needs to go a little deeper on this, and this all needs to go a little deeper.
The grain on that one was very, very easy to cut.
This whole thing right here needs to go deeper.
Alright, that's all done. Sand them now?
Yeah, just put a hole both together,
I didn't think about that.
front to back, so you know they're both, yeah.
Dude. There's no way that thing's that far off.
It don't matter. It's gonna sand right off,
Yeah.
and then sand them.
Actually, you know what? Probably better going this way.
You need both the tops together and both the bottoms together, so
Yeah,
you need to
that's-
have the two T's together or both of them apart.
Yeah, that's how they are.
Right
Two
now,
T's together.
there's a T there, and your other T,
Cut off.
shit, hold on, I can show you real quick. That's the top. The top, there you go, yeah, it needs to go like that.
Yeah, they need to be flat, not angled against each
Yeah,
other.
and then you basically line them up.
Line them up in the end and sand them. Yeah, because line them up with the end that's not been cut yet, which is this end. Line it up there. Hold her tight and run her home.
Yep. Also sand really fast too, by the way. Where's the, we're not moving.
know what, Donnie? I'm gonna cut this one before I sand it. You see how much that one's off?
Yeah, you are off quite a bit here.
Well, I'll just freehand it. I don't even need the line.
Make it a lot easier to cut if you set it flat on the table.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about this one piece of balsa, man. It thing's thin, and the grain is so easy to cut.
Oh yeah, it does. Going.
Well, it's just this one. This one's got a thick grain.
Yeah.
This one's super easy. Still got a wave in right there. There it is. This light wave right
Alright, Lee.
there. What does he say?
He said he switched accounts. I crashed his account as Lee.
I'm just truing up all the edges is all I'm doing now. Ooh,
Alright.
so pretty.
Now what you want to do, I'll take the top.
Yeah,
The
that's
top.
gonna be used that side.
Basically, once you get that done, what you want to do is take
Is this on the top side or the bottom side?
on the bottom side of the elevon,
We do about a 45
do a relief in here. It helps it with the
with the down throw, the down deflect.
then you'll take and just run that across. We're gonna do the same thing on this one. So remember this is
Bottom. That's the top.
top. So you're gonna take it out of this side.
45.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I'm flipping it. Like that.
Yep. You're gonna have to cut your blade to come off the side of the blade. This just helps it with the down deflection. Makes it where it's not so stressful on your servos. Gives you a little relief in it.
This isn't necessary though, is it?
It ain't necessary, but it helps a lot.
And then people that don't want to go this far in depth in making it, I figured let them know anyway.
It don't matter. You can ask Lee. I got him working only whenever I got to stand up and kind of move him to the next step, but I'm just trying to keep an eye on the run here. Bob's done disappeared. He's in the living room watching TV or something.
There we go.
Alright, now you want to get this dust off here because you really don't want any dust in this next section. Clean your elevons off, get the dust off in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the elevons onto the frame and get them ready for goop. And then after this is probably going to be it for the night, or maybe for a few hours anyway. We might go back live and we start cutting holes for servos and batteries on this one. But for right now, the goop's going to take at least 4 hours before we can cut the tape off where it's dry enough that the hinges don't break.
Got it.
Yeah, the CA, what the CA does, as long as you sand them spars down, it does bond good to it, and it soaks into the foam. It actually soaks into the foam where, you know, goop sticks to the outside, it doesn't go into it as much. But like Lee said, CA is a little more brittle, but the goop locking it in over the top, so far has always worked great for me on all my builds. So this is how I'm always, it's just a tradition to me. And like I said, different builders have different ways. And I'm sure Lee's way is tough because I know he's crashed the hell out of his and it's held up perfect. So I think both ways are going to work good, but we're going to try both ways with both wings because we're doing two here right now. We got another one in the background. He's taking a break, but he's already ready to basically, we're going to goop all his stuff in. And then we're going to leave the elevon straight on his instead of cutting the curves in so we can just try the differences in them, see what it does, see what we think works the best.
Alright.
Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and start taping up the elevons and get them taped onto the frame so we can goop it. And this, once, like I said, once we get done with this, this is at least a 4 hours before we can do much more. I mean, I guess we could start tracing servos, but if it just gets messy, so it's just best to let these hinges dry before you try to do too much more. That, and it keeps them nice and true with the rear leading edge of the wing. If you try to work a lot and you get this tape loose, it lets the hinge drop, so it just doesn't stay as true. So this is the best part where usually once I do this, I get all this done, I let these hinges sit for 4 or 5 hours before I cut them loose. So we're going to show you how to do this, so how I do it. Some people use tape, but I'm not going to lie, I've tried it. I've tried tape. Tape gets loose after a while. I've noticed goop, it holds. It will rip the foam plumb off the back of the wing or bust the elevon before the goop actually lets go of these elevons. As long as it's gooped to the true wood and the true foam. Now if you paint first and then try to goop these on, you're gonna lose strength because the paint's not gonna hold to that foam near as strong as this goop is. But I've been testing this theory and this method here now for a whole year on a bunch of high performance wings, and one of them's a mini drac, which I fly between 80 to 110 miles an hour, and they're still way tighter than my original mini drac that I had taped. So this is tried and true, and so far I ain't got no splits, no breaks. They're still nice and rubbery. They're not brittle whatsoever. We fly cold. We fly 110 degrees. We fly 20 degrees, and it's working great so far. Plus you're going to have lamb over these hinges and the elevon, so that's even more support. So, but this is how we're going to do it. Basically, I want to come about, you want to come probably about, I just do this by eye. I usually just by eye about that much and just run all the way down up about there. And just make a nice straight line. And press it down good. The same thing on the other side. sure your tape's sticking good at this edge anyway. You want it nice and sticky at this edge. Doesn't matter about the other edge, it makes it easier to peel off.
How's that? About even, Donny?
It don't, yeah, it's close. It ain't, this don't have to be perfect because this goop is so clear you'll never see it through the lamb. You'll never be able to notice it, so it doesn't really matter if this ain't perfect.
Now, do you get better hold with more of a gap?
Yeah, you want about this much gap on both.
Alright, so everybody watching.
Probably 3/4, half inch, 3/4 of a gap, I'd say.
Yeah, it's 3/4.
Alright, so 3/4 of a half inch of a gap. Go ahead and tear you off 3 pieces of it.
Doesn't matter how long?
No, it's just, you know,
Like that?
probably yay long. Yeah. And I'll do this first side, this is the bottom. So basically what we're going to do, shit, hand me that piece you got on there.
I'll do it.
Ah.
Now, do you want any kind of gap in this, or just leave
No,
it?
you want it nice and tight. You want this elevon nice and tight up against the wing. And do that, the same thing about that much gap. Come over a little bit more. Right about there. Pretty much trying to make, well, it don't really matter which direction it is, but the parallel.
That's pulling.
And then you're going to do one in the center, just like that. Basically right in the middle of those two.
Trying to pull up the wing.
Go ahead and wrap around the bottom. And then what you can do is this. Now you want to run a piece from there all the way to here, same as you did up here, that's the same distance. No, you're right, don't worry about that one, I'm just going to wrap that around. We're going to tighten all that up before we lay this hinge. So you can kind of loose. Now go ahead and get your other side because this is going to come loose. Go ahead and do the other side. Once you get this, don't goop it yet. Go ahead and get both sides done because if not, you're going to knock this hinge uneven while you're trying to tape this side of it. You want to make sure you get them both done, then we'll get them where we ain't got to move the wing no more while this dries. Instead of trying to do one side with goop already on it and then trying to tape the other side and knocking this side down or up and having an uneven edge. You want to keep this edge right here nice and flat.
there's that. I'm gonna go find. Oh, that's right. Damn.
Alright. Now that we're there, basically what I usually use is one of my old razors. And we got one here we've been using. Yes. We're going to use the one we've been using, clean it up a little bit so you got a nice flat edge. Maybe one side, maybe the other.
Stand up for me.
So what you're going to want to do is get your goop. Make sure your tape edge is nice and tight. Hold on, I don't want to lose all that shit squirting out. Make sure you're flat. I like to bow it down a few times to make sure it feels like it's got good down, good up.
What's up, doggy?
What's up, y'all? Y'all done? What's up? Is this Trevi's? What's happening?
We're gooping his
Just got
hinges.
back.
We're gooping his hinges in so they can see it.
Is that Trappy's?
Trevi.
Oh, Trappy's.
Put you some goop. You want a little up reflux when you do this so it's thicker right at the hinge. Take your razor. This is doing is making it nice and thick, a nice good wide bead.
Crazy.
Have you guys been answering all these questions in here?
Yes. Cool. Donnie's been over there and I've been over there. This is the first time I've gotten up.
He said just because it looks like a spec wing doesn't mean it's not a speaker.
And basically when you get done, that's going to be your hinge. You can see you can't see it really, so I can't say as you can see because you can't see it. Like I said, I like to let this dry at least 3 to 4 hours, and then you're going to want to take a razor and cut around this with a sharp razor. If not, it's going to peel foam and everything once this dries, trust me. Take a razor and cut around these squares good. When you're peeling up, cut. If it starts holding somewhere, take a razor, cut it, make sure it's sharp, because this stuff is really hard to cut when it dries. It's really, really rubbery. Like a tire, I mean, it's rubbery. But I'm going to let Shawn take over and do his other side, and this one's going to be pretty much done till we let it sit.
How rubbery did you say it was?
Rubbery.
Rubbery?
Rubbery.
It's rubbery. Super duper rubbery.
Alright, we should be able to turn off live now if we want, unless you just want to get him doing the last one.
There's some people on.
Hopefully people
Look at
ask
that.
questions, let them ask. But, yeah, wash my hand.
You see that? Donny did it the
He
wrong way.
broke it?
Donny did it the wrong way. Squeeze that sucker from right in the middle. Dude, that's like a tube of toothpaste. You don't do that. I didn't see how he did this, so I don't even know how much I'm using. I'm probably using way too much. Knowing me, what I get for not watching, huh?
Having a good time there, Shawn?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Learn a little bit?
Got the shit all over my hand now. Oh yeah, I've learned a lot doing this one. This one is a lot more one-off building it than the last spec one that I built. How's that look, Donny?
Put a little more right down the center, and just that way you can make sure you get right down the center.
Holy shit, dude. I know these are not straight. I think that's from the spar putting in. Is that how you do it, just like that?
Yeah. Just in the same way.
Like you're spreading Vaseline.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Do we have to hit the spreading Vaseline?
What you do, man, basically now all you gotta do is let it dry, man, for a few hours. Here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna move you over here, or I'll straighten all it up over here.
Alright.
Alright, fellas, this one we're gonna let dry for a few hours. We're about done, so we'll probably jump off here and let this dry before we start. We'll come back home and get ready to cut holes, but for now we're gonna stop.
Alright guys, have a good one. See you next time. Bob, Thrust-FPV, Donny, Shawn, and Trevor, y'all have a good one.
We're out.